I know you've written about them, and I think so. You had on April 6th this year, you were about Crocs, the Hey Dude Hangover. That's when I
Yeah.
purchased it. Was when they did the Hey Dude write down, because I was looking at it a little bit before, and basically in my head I agreed about the write down, and then they went ahead and wrote it down, which I've never had it happen that quickly before. And I said, hey, actually, I disagree with the market on this one. I think they did the right thing here.
Yeah.
So talk
Well,
to me about
first of
that.
all,
Do you own any?
I do not. First of all, very good call on your part. I concluded. I concluded. Oh, you can keep me honest here, but I think the sense of my conclusion was in the most recent write up that I think the valuation is attractive, and I think the core business on the numbers defies a lot of the claims about Crocs and particularly things like fad risk. And it's fun as a big part of my write ups, particularly when looking at a company for the first time. I do a ton of reading through any like old Bloomberg articles, old Wall Street Journal, or if I can find anything written from 5, 10, 15, 25 years ago, I love to read those type of things to try to get a sense for like what was it like owning this or being in this business at that point in time. And Crocs is one of those funny ones where like perpetually when you read things, there's two things that are always mentioned: fad risk for these types of shoes, and two, just like competitive threat from knockoffs of, these same foamy looking sneakers or sandals, whatever you want to call them. And then you look at the business results, and they disclose the number of units sold and the ASPs as well, obviously, and the revenues. So you can look at it by volumes and pricing and things like that, and it's just an extremely impressive track record of what the core business has done over the past roughly 20 years. So I liked what I saw there. What I didn't like as much was the Hey Dude deal, and when they reached a point where the numbers were really starting to fall short of the expectations that I had laid out previously. And as you said, like it was pretty clear, like obviously there's impairment here. Um, what do you do from there? And I've followed companies like, bring this full circle in a second. I followed Dollar Tree for a very long time with a somewhat similar idea of I really like the core banner. I think it's a very unique retail value proposition, and I think the products they sell and the customers they serve is a lot more insulated than people think because they just view it as retail being competitive, which it obviously is, but there's different occasions and use cases within there, and Dollar Tree's position is very well insulated from what a lot of others are doing in the space. Um, but they own Family Dollar, which I thought was a very bad asset, particularly relative to DG, which is their main competitor. And it was a turnaround story that wasn't turning, and it was taking a lot of capital, it was taking a lot of management's time and resources. And from having watched that, maybe this is a rule that I have to tweak over time or at least be thoughtful about. I just came to a place where I was like, I don't want to own this until they clean this up. They need to figure out an answer here. And until they do, I'm someone who's going to own 10, 15 stocks at any given point in time. I don't need to make a compromise like that if I don't have to. In that case, it managed to work out well where they did get to that point, um, and the stock didn't trade great in periods shortly thereafter, so it gave me an opportunity to buy at prices that look really good now. So I think in some ways I was looking at Crocs similarly, and obviously we'll see how things go from here. Um, I'd prefer that they just were not in the Hey Dude business and they sold it for, they might take an 80% haircut on what they paid or a 70% haircut on what they paid for the business. But I like the idea of teams just getting rid of things that they don't want to be doing. Obviously, you don't want to repeat that cycle and over again if you're just going to get rid of things that fire sale prices, right? But just get rid of that businesses you don't want to be in, get rid of the distraction and focus on what you're good at and focus on maximizing per share value with that core business that has proven to be, a growth business with legs internationally, with a lot of things going for it. Has things going for it with gibbets, which for people who don't know are the little accessories. Like there's a lot of things that are going well there, and stock has, generally speaking, traded at a pretty attractive valuation. So you have opportunities on capital returns, et cetera, et cetera. Um, so yeah, that was kind of my conclusion. But I think I probably wrote that at 80, and last I saw it was at a 120 or 130. So maybe I should have accepted. I should have accepted owning Hey Dude as part of that. But that's the way it goes, right?